gospel. Well, I can tell you now, you've been feeling down. Just go down to the river, down to the river now. You have lost your way, staring off into space. Just go down to the river, down to the river and pray. Lost and you forget the cause. Just go down to the river, down to the river now. Sometimes you need to break away. Oh yeah. Just get on your own and break away, oh child. Use a moon to guide you far away on low. It shines upon a river and carries you back home. Sometimes you need to break away, oh yeah. Get on your own and break away, oh child. Use a moon to guide you far away on low. It shines upon and carries you back home. Down to the river, down to the river. 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 Down to the river, down to the river.
Hey everybody, this is Jason Shadrick with Premier Guitar, and we are on location at the Magic Barn with the Allman Betts Band. And we just heard here with Devin Allman, Dwayne Betts from said band.
Said band.
And we just heard a song from your new record.
Yes,
that's coming out. So tell us a little bit about it, Devin, about that song.
That song was, it's the title track from the record, Down to the River. It was actually an idea I had last summer on the tour bus that, it was really just a 2-chord thing with a really simple melody. And we were on a break making the record, and we had the songs all pretty much ready to go. And I kind of pulled it out again, and Dwayne was like, man, I wish we would have finished it. And I was like, well, let's finish it, you know? And it was just one of those things. It came together really quick. He threw in an amazing bridge. We arranged it right there with Matt Ross Spang, our producer, who was an amazing producer. And we were lucky enough to kind of capture that one right then and there. And we immediately recorded it. It's on the record. It's the title track. It's wild how that works out sometimes when you're not, expecting something to
And did you
come.
look at the batch of songs you had, and you felt like that song, that's a good title for an album?
Well, I think it just made sense because the whole magic of Muscle Shoals, which is where we made the record.
They talk
is
about
based
the
around
river down there. I mean,
back
there's a river that there's there's a Native American legend or whatever.
Yeah, and it's a nice play on words too with the river is kind of like all of our inspiration and our influences and, kind of going back to the source, I think.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
So you two obviously have both your families have such a shared history. When did you two first kind of connect and know of each other and start to make music together?
Well, we met when we were kids,
Yeah.
About 30 years ago, and then we'd run into each other in different cities, from time to time. Devin would be on the same bill as my dad's band when I was playing in my father's band, Great Southern, or he'd be in Los Angeles, and I was living out there, and I'd go and sit in with him. But we started talking about doing something, and then the time just approached where it felt really natural and felt like the right time to maybe do something. And other than that, we'd really just jammed, when we'd run into each other.
Yeah.
But we never lived in the same city, so we never were like, this is the most we've hung out, But when
For better or for worse?
when you know somebody, when you're family with somebody, you might not see them that often, but when you see them, it's just not, it's all love,
Yeah.
Right. So when did you guys start working in earnest on putting this band together and this record together?
Well, after my father passed away, I took a year off from touring, and I just felt like it was important to have that time to just kind of, rally around family and take care of stuff and grieve. And, it was a rough year. I lost my mom as well. And when I came out of that year off, I was like, well, I want to come back bigger and better and give something exciting to the fans. And I knew Dwayne had been in Dickie's band for so long, and it was also in the band Dawes. And I was like, I knew he wanted to get up and front some songs and sing. And he had been talking about recording some of his original music. And I was like, well, man, why don't you, wrap up a record, have something to sell and play. And why don't you come open for me and then jam at the end? It'll make people so happy, and it'll just be something cool for the fans. And of course, in the back of my mind, it was like, well, maybe we'll write some tunes out on that year-long tour, and if we do, great, and if we don't, that's fine too. I mean, we still have things we can go and do. So this was never forced. This was never, a record label or a manager saying, you guys need to, It was like we had fun on the tour. So it's like, let's see if we can, have a chemistry writing songs together, and we did. Thankfully, it was organic and.
And it's so great to hear that rather than thinking of, wow, we have some convenient last names.
Yeah, well, yeah, but see, of anyone on the planet, we're the ones that are like, whoa,
Yeah, we,
we get it, for music lovers.
But then you
it's a
don't
thing,
want to, I mean, I don't want to change we don't want to change our last names either. So at a certain point, you have to say, okay, well,
This is who we are.
Let's just make some good music and get behind it, and then let our names be what they are, and let the music speak rather than our names. I mean, obviously,
and that's the thing.
I mean, that stuff. I mean, I get that stuff. If people are, people get angry about it sometimes, and I'm like, hey man, I get it, but don't get mad at me. I didn't, But yeah, I mean, we're just really proud of the record.
Yeah.
And that's the focus,
But I think, the thing you keyed in on, if we would have sat down to write songs last year on that tour and they didn't come or they didn't feel good, we wouldn't be sitting here as a band today.
Yeah.
So this was totally.
Yeah, I mean,
because it really worked.
I've always really resisted. In fact, I did really resist. He would talk about well, we should do something, and we were busy, and that was a large part of it. But I've just always resisted the idea of, well, we should do this because it'll, you know, when you sit down and write some tunes, and then the next, you know, you have a little idea, and you give it to the guy, and then the guy the guy being Devin in this case, and then he changes it up, and then you're like, whoa, I really like that. That just made it better. Then that's the idea.
Yeah.
The idea is if you can sit down and write the way you'd write with anybody that you enjoyed writing with, and had fun, and the creative process flows in that. So that's the idea. It's not about let's put you know, almonds with Betts, and you know, that comes with it, but the music has got to be first. Sure. So.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Juliet, she is a songbird. She got rhythm, she got soul. You found her down in the deep south, along the Gulf of Mexico. We're out here on that highway, got that ringing in our ears. Oh, these melodies are memories. That's why I'm standing here.
Oh, yeah.
Juliet can kill some cold ones, drink whiskey like any man, but she smells like that sweet jasmine. She don't use tricks or sleight of hand. We're out here on that highway, got that ringing in our ears. Oh, these melodies are memories that carry us through the years.
Oh.
I don't remember years by numbers. I don't go by the presidents. Just remember the soft whispers of Juliet coming across the west. We're out here on that highway, got that ringing in our ears. Oh, these melodies are memories that carry us through the years. These melodies are memories, and that's why I'm standing here.
right, so Melodies or Memories was the name of that song?
Yes.
Correct? So was that another co-write or?
That's a co-write with Stahl Vaughn. A lot of this stuff, the majority of the record was written by Stahl, Devin, and myself.
Okay.
You know, us three collaborating.
So do you find when you guys are kind of in a group writing a song, do some people's roles kind of shift from song to song?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what were
Yeah.
kind of the roles in that particular song?
Well, actually, Stahl had a tune, and then he brought it in, and then we kind of completely rearranged it and kept kind of the core of it
Yep.
on that one.
Yeah.
That's how that one went down. I added in some musical stuff, and Devin kind of rewrote some of the verses and added some kind of whimsical kind of charm to it.
I love it.
And yeah, so that's how you do it. You know, you kind of work together, and then you just kind of split it up, and no matter who wrote what.
Yeah, there wasn't really a rhyme or reason. We, you know, the great thing about having Stahl out with us was he really acted as kind of a mediator, and he kept all of our lyrics organized and all of our voice memos on our phones. And like, you know, if somebody had a hot hand and had a good riff or a good idea, he would kind of cheerlead that process. And I've never had that luxury to kind of have a mediator.
I think a lot of it has to do when you're working with a producer, if you're writing with somebody, it has to do with trust.
Absolutely.
And their opinion, and trusting that when they give their, you know, if they give their opinion and give their approval, then, you know, because it's easy to second guess what you've just done if you're in a room and you're getting a feel for the room and you're trying to get a live performance, and also the same with songwriting. But I feel like it's also very easy because you're so close to a song. If you write a song by yourself, it's very easy to, you know, you write a song and you're practically in tears after you write it. Doesn't mean it's the greatest song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're so close to it. So that's what's good about having someone else or a couple of other guys to bounce stuff off of, because then you kind of get, you know, you get kind of the real.
And trust is the key, because if, you know, there was moments where like Dwayne and Stahl were writing, and I'd just walk in out of nowhere and start singing to it, and they'd be like, "That's it. Get the voice memo out," you know. And you learn to trust each other, and you also learn, like, when one cat kind of has a hot hand going, you get behind him and you support him, and you know, hey, try going to an E7 there, or try, you know, a bridge there, and it really was a great experience. And this is coming after 20 years of writing alone, you know, and writing always seemed very personal to me, and I always thought, well, why do I want to co-write? That seems kind of like, you know, like invasive, you know, because this is, you know, it's a personal thing when you write a story, a song, or whatever. But man, what an experience, and a couple of gifted writers that, you know.
Yeah,
I
we
got to
work really
with.
well together. I think that's the important thing. If it was laborious and, you know, if
It's supposed
it was
to be fun, right?
Yeah, it's not supposed to be drudgery, you know.
So it's interesting you brought that idea up about writing by yourself and then opening yourself up to somebody else.
Yeah.
When in places like Nashville, where that's a co-write is like, that's the norm.
Dude,
You know what I mean?
Nashville is bogus these days, and I'll say that on record, man. Those cats sit down at noon, they pull up the beats per minute of that hit song, and the length, and man, that's bullshit, dude. Like, you know, write some real songs from your heart. You know, that's what it's about. That's what all our heroes did. And they're trying to like crack this code. You know, good for them. But like we really wanted to write songs about, you know, life and love and like real shit. You know, the coolest thing that Stahl Vaughn did was he sat down for the first 2 days, didn't even pick up a guitar. He was just like, man, where'd you grow up? You know, hey, were you ever married? You know, like he would getting into your story,
Yeah.
you know, so he could tap into your well. And that
Now,
was
did you
like,
guys have a relationship with him before starting working?
Dwayne certainly
Dwayne
did,
Yeah,
Okay.
I've known him for about 5 or 6 years. He's based in Los Angeles, and I live out there these days. But he's from Lexington, Kentucky, originally.
he's such a sweetheart.
And Devin liked some of the stuff that we had written together for my EP.
Yeah,
And
I was blown away.
Then we all got along great together.
So has this changed your view in a way on co-writing, or
Have I come to see the light?
or is this just kind of a magic combination of of people?
No, it absolutely. Now I want to like write with everybody. You know? It's like the door, the gate. You know, the floodgates are open. But you know, we're actually going to revisit what we did last year with Stahl, and the whole process actually for the second record. We're gonna have him out. We're gonna write again. We're gonna go back to the same studio in Muscle Shoals and do it to 2-inch again. And,
Which Muscle Shoals studio?
Muscle Shoals Sound Studios.
Sound studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a cool experience.
I bet, man. Just the walls in there, just looking at them would probably just.
Amazing. It was really, really cool.
So tell us a little bit, since obviously we're a guitar magazine, about the guitars you brought. Now I know recently we did a rig rundown with you guys and kind of went through the whole shebang. But tell us specifically about these two you
my
guys brought out
amp blew
today.
up the next day. I had to change it. I changed all the tubes on it the next day, and it sounded much better.
This is Fred. This is a 1969 Buck Owens Harmony, and it's had a lot of updated work done to it. New frets, new tuners, new support in the bracing, new pickup, new bridge. It's basically everything is new on it, just to get it road ready. But I just actually picked this up on Reverb a couple of weeks ago. That guitar was my father's. So if you saw my dad the last 10 years playing Melissa, you saw him play this guitar. It's a Johnny Cash signature Martin, and that's one of the best sounding acoustics, especially plugged in, that I've ever heard. So Dwayne's playing that. And then we got Johnny's. Let's get Johnny's guitar in here.
Johnny, let's get you in here.
Yeah, come on, man.
And you tell us about
Come talk about your
I'll be
guitar.
on camera.
This is a really cool. There's some cool things, but this is Johnny, by the way, our slide player.
Hey,
He plays other types of guitar, but he plays a lot of slide.
this is a new acquisition for me. It's a Les Paul historic. It was originally a Leroy Parnell gold top. That historic makeovers did the refinish work on it, and it's got the Brazilian rosewood and thin neck, good for slide, good weight, just a real loud resonant piece of wood.
And you're a standard tune slide guy?
Yeah, standard tuning for everything.
And
I play open tunings also, but just for the convenience of it.
What all did they change out or beef up on that?
It's a lot. It's got the early patent number pickups. It's got an old vintage wiring harness with the central lab pots and the Black Beauty caps, and it's a super vintage vibe. I've played quite a few real 59s, and it's about as close as you can get out of a modern guitar, I'd say. So.
And you're not worried about it. It's not like, there
No,
goes.
a guitar.
That's a house sitting there.
Yeah, well, it's still, it's like more like a car.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of a house. It's not cheap, but it's
It's a camper van.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I travel generally with one guitar, so just keep an eye on it, and so far so good.
Cool. And we have you, Johnny, plugged into a vintage Fender Deluxe
Deluxe
reverb here.
reverb, yeah.
Just straight into the amp.
Yeah,
Cool. All right. Finally, I wanted to talk to you guys. You said you're already working on the second record.
Well, not quite, but
Not quite.
we're
You spilled
this.
the beans, Devin. I'm sorry.
We're talking about it. so
No,
that-
we've got Stahl scheduled to come out and hang out with us again and actually open some shows, and then during the daytime we're going to sit down and write. So
Yeah.
we're looking to repeat the process.
Excellent. So where can people go online to find out what you guys are up to, what you're doing, where you're going, where you're going to be?
AllmanBetsBand.com is the website. We have a big presence on social media all across the Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, all that. So we're pretty easy to find.
Easy to find. All right, we're going to wrap up with one final song. What's going to be this last song you guys play for us?
Man, this is a song from our youth, that I just kind of was dicking around with at soundcheck, and then we were just like, man, why don't we play that? And it's just an old Tom Petty song.
What's it called?
You'll remember it. You'll remember it.
All right.
That's
so
what the song's called. It's actually a rare.
We don't. We
rare
just
Tom
want
Petty
to. We
song
just want
called
to
You'll
dive
Remember
into it and let people figure it out.
Excellent. Well, thanks to the Magic Barn for having us here.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank you
Magic
guys.
Barn.
And we'll let you
Magic
guys go with it.
You better watch what you say. You better watch what you do to me. Don't get carried away. Girl, if you can do better than me, go. Just go. But remember, baby, good little love is hard to find. Good little love is hard to find. You got lucky, babe. You got lucky, babe. When I found you, you put a hand to my cheek, then you turn your eyes away. Girl, if you're incomplete, I don't take you all the way. Go, just go. But remember, baby, good little love is hard to find. Good little love is hard to find. You got lucky, babe. Got lucky, babe, when I found you. Yeah, go, just go. But remember, baby, good little love is hard to find. Good little love is hard to find. You got lucky, babe. You got lucky, babe. Hard to find. Good little love is hard to find. You got lucky, baby. You got lucky, baby. Yeah. You got lucky, baby. You got lucky, baby. When I found